Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode we had the off season, and our team is definitely starting to I'd say like they're kind of like maybe dropping off a slight bit, but it's not really too much noticeable because we have still a very good roster. I did rework the lines completely. I'll go through this actually more in depth in a tiny bit, but you can see we reworked the entire lineup just to probably give us the best chance at winning games. And I'm hoping that obviously our team doesn't win a President's Trophy this season. I'm hoping that we could somehow just get into the playoffs. And then when we get into the playoffs, we forget about everything that's happened in the past, because for some reason this team's never been able to get past that second round, and we're hoping that this is the year. Hopefully we could finally find a way to win a Stanley Cup. We have a new head coach with our team, so I'm hoping that could also play a major factor. But anyways, before we get into simulating this season, we'll also take a look actually at what the players on our team look like, because obviously there's been a long time between times where I've actually done that. I haven't looked at a lot of the new guys in probably like at least 5 or more seasons, so we'll definitely take a look at everybody on our roster so you guys can kind of get a little bit of a face to a name, that type of thing. But let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about the off season. So the first comment is from Saturn Otaku, who says, when looking at coaches, you should check not only the team fit but also the bar chart that shows how well he or she meshes with the individual players. Some may be defensive specialists, but not necessarily work well with your specific roster. And yeah, that's true. The coaching stuff in franchise mode, I feel like it needs a little bit of work. I feel like it's kind of very like it's kind of a weird system. I don't know, but this coach, this is the one we hired, Aldrich Melikar. As you can see, pretty balanced on them in terms of that. Works best with Lehman, Wilman, Ahinen, which is actually kind of nice considering those are our 3 main guys in the series. And in terms of like morale and stuff like that, looks like player relationships are pretty decent. Management, not so much. Team performance is good, and coaching staff is pretty decent. So hopefully that continues to go up. And you can see that it's a 65% team fit, so he works well with, like I was saying, Wilm, Lehman, and Ahinen. There's a couple players he doesn't work super well with, and that's the DFDs like Kolsnik and Sea-Doo, which is not great. But everybody else is pretty solid, I would say, in terms of team fits. So this coach actually does work decently. And yeah, this is basically his systems and what he runs. He actually runs the trap, which is interesting, on the forecheck bias. Okay. And there's the line strategies, just in case any of you guys actually care about that type of stuff. So there is our head coach. Hopefully he could get us to a Stanley Cup, because no team has ever been able to get us past the second round. The next comment is from Flame Husky, who says, I'm running out of stuff to say. Maybe put the draft class and prospect quality up to high next offseason. It would benefit you and the whole league. Maybe leave it on high for only 3 to 4 years so the league doesn't drown in good prospects. And that could be something we do. I don't know if we need to, but obviously it could be very beneficial to helping this team get some more good draft prospects in. We only have, I think, around 7 more seasons left of this franchise mode, so obviously if we want to get a Stanley Cup, maybe that's a good thing for us to do, but maybe we'll get it this season and we won't have to worry about getting another one, because obviously, like, once we win one Stanley Cup, I'm okay with not winning a Stanley Cup for the rest of the series. We just have to pretty much sim out the careers for Mauricio and all those guys and see how they finish up their historic seasons. And then the last and final comment is from Ian.Nolov, who says, enjoyed your thoughts during the drafting. I'll let you decide everything this season because it seems like you know better. Not going to bother you with suggestions this time. Kind of feel stressed. I just want to see how you adjust everything. Lines, special teams, coaches. Hopefully you'll do that the best way possible. Sending you best wishes for Xmas and New Year upcoming. Fist bump. And thank you for that, Ian. And don't take it personally when I'm saying that I want to go with my own suggestions over years. I kind of just have always run my franchise modes where my opinion is the top and foremost, but obviously your guys' opinion definitely influences me in terms of what I do. So let's go through our lineup, because obviously you guys want to see what our team is looking like. I set up both the NHL and the AHL, so you guys won't get necessarily my thought process on it, but I did spend a good amount of time adjusting the lineup. So in terms of the NHL, this is what we're going to run with. The reason why Sergeyev is going to be on the third line over somebody like Habscheid is just because that way Sergeyev doesn't lose morale. He already has lost morale from last season. He's also going to be getting some penalty kill time, so that should help his ice time. Habscheid, I believe I have him on a power play, and he should generate some ice time because of that, so I'm hoping he's okay with his ice time. And then Taro Haken is on the penalty kill, I'm pretty sure as well, which should generate some ice time for him, which would be good in terms of that. But yeah, in general, we just have a very balanced lineup. We are doing the approach that Logan was mentioning, so we have Will Vlasic, Layman Ahinen, Richter, and Del Rivera. And then pretty much the rest of these lineup players are flippable. So we could move Habscheid always up to like a top line if we want to. Move Hamalainen down to a fourth line, kind of rework things. But I think right now this is technically what we're going to run with. From a defensive standpoint, we got Sea-Doo and Kolsnik, Paco and Booze. And Boys is going to be playing on the top 6 pairing, but with some power play time with Mangone. The reason being is just because all these guys are listed as top 4s, and Boys obviously is listed as top 4s, so I want to be making sure Booze and Paco get their ice time, and then Mangone obviously will never probably outgrow that top 6 potential that he's on right now. Goaltending-wise, we got Burkhoff and Solis, obviously, and in depth-wise, we have Vitaly Sharov. I signed ourselves Andrei Kozlov. If you remember this guy, he generated up to a 76. He's never played an NHL game, I think. Yeah, never played an NHL game. He's got 6 years in the AHL with our team, and he is back in the system after, I think he only missed 1 year or 2 years with the team, which is nice. So he will be a depth piece for us. And then June Turnbull from the AHL will also be making it as a depth defenseman, just because of the fact we already have a lot of defenders down there, and he's not going to really grow much more. So might as well have him as a depth defender. So that's going to be basically our NHL lineup. Power play wise and stuff like that, I'll just briefly go through this. You can see that our power play has pretty much all our stud players that they normally do on them. The second unit has Richter, Weber, Hamalainen, Habscheid, and Vlasic, so all forwards. However, these guys all have a +1 in terms of chemistry boost, which is nice. So we have our power plays set up like the following, and I'm hoping that we get some good production from some of the younger guys. In terms of the penalty kill, like I said, I'm trying to get ice time for guys like Haken and Del Rivera and all that stuff that are on like the 3rd and 4th lines. So that's why they're getting a lot more penalty kill time. You can see Sergeyev there with Anderson. And then we also have Wilm there with Del Rivera. So Del Rivera is getting double shifted on the penalty kill, but I think it makes sense because he is probably our best two-way forward. And yeah, basically the rest of the lineup is set up like this. This unit is not very good in terms of chemistry, but I do like having Mauricio on the penalty kill always. He's always a short-handed threat, so that's the main reason why he is still on the penalty kill. Obviously, if our penalty kill is not doing good, though, I might take him off the penalty kill unit on that spot just because, yeah, that chemistry is pretty tragic. And then 4-on-4 doesn't matter too much, but we're basically just trying to get our pairings together of like Richter, Del Rivera, that type of thing, so we can generate as much offense as possible. And yeah, that's basically our NHL team. In terms of the AHL team, I set it up properly as well. So we have like obviously Hartman still down there, Raymond. A lot of these guys should be jumping to the NHL soon. I could have had some of them in the lineup this season, but I decided that I would rather leave them in the AHL for 1 more year. So Hartman and Raymond will be there for another season at least. They might jump to the NHL next year, but right now there's not a roster spot. There might be a roster spot or 2 available soon, because obviously this offseason Vlasic is up for renewal, and I don't think I might be bringing him back. I might honestly let him go because we have so much left wingers, so I honestly might let him walk, which might be an interesting scenario if we decide to do that. But that's what the forward core looks like. Defensively, we got Bursch and Cardwell, Cracknell and Stewart, and then Hartnell and Fragapane, so a very balanced defensive core in the AHL. And yeah, I'm hoping that obviously a lot of these guys could go out into our defensive core next season, because it would be nice to give an opportunity to some of them, considering the fact that our NHL team hasn't been doing good defensively in the playoffs. And then we have Bodens and Michelli still. And then depth-wise, Daniel McLaren's just going to be a depth piece down there because he's old. He's 29. And then Gaspar Renault is also going to be scratched, which kind of sucks because I would have liked to get him into the lineup. But Burrish being like an actual NHL defenseman, Cardwell is medium elite potential, so he should still be in. You have Stewart, who is medium 4. Cracknell, who is low top 4, so maybe he would get taken out, but he is listed as a top 6 defender. You also have Hartnell, who is listed as medium elite still, and you have Fragapane on medium 4, so technically he has the worst of the potential, but he will draw in if there is any injuries. So that's basically that. Also the power play for the AHL. I didn't really care too much about the chemistry down there. I just wanted to get the best prospects in the right spots. So Boucher, Hartman, Raymond, Stewart, and Hartnell on a unit. And then we also have Dodge, Bear White, Picard, Cardwell, and Lutz on the power play. So I'm hoping that a lot of those guys generate some good growth, and obviously that will help us for future seasons. But that is our team. Very excited to see what ends up happening this year. And Wilm still has his franchise potential, which is nice. So I'm hoping that he could hold on to that for a few more years before he starts to drop off. Okay, now that we've seen that, let's take a look at all our players on our team that we've never seen before. I know that's a little bit of a long start to an episode and without simulating any games, but we want to definitely take a look at these guys because I know a lot of you guys have been asking about what these guys look like. So let's see what the players look like, starting with Mateo Burkov, who is our starting goaltender. Kind of crazy, he's up to an 88. Of course, the black plaid glitch, he just looks pretty basic, nothing too special. What about, what's that other goaltender, Solis? We haven't even seen Solis and he's played a little bit. They're both on pending free agent contracts, which is interesting. So I wonder what our goaltending situation is going to look like next season, if it's going to be guys from the AHL or not. Ooh, nice. He has some Coho pads, but you can't really tell because of the black. He looks like this. He's got a nice little stash. Solid hair. Not bad. So there is Mark Solis. Let's take a look at what else we got here. In terms of defensemen, we've seen Kolesnik, Sea-Doo, Boys, Paco, Booze, Mangone, and Turnbull we have not seen, I'm pretty sure. But we definitely have seen those top three because those guys have been here for a very long time at this point. A lot of these guys have just drawn into the lineup over the last 5+ seasons, so we haven't seen them all. So this is Paco. He does not have a lot of hair, and he has some patchy facial hair, nothing too special, but still kind of a cool look. I kind of like how those teal skates work with their jerseys. They actually look pretty nice. And then we have Mauricio Booze. So the lesser of the two Mauricios. What does he look like? Let's see. He looks pretty basic. One of the most basic guys I've seen. Once again, not too special. Nice stick. Red skates. Love to see it. What is Mangone looking like? Gregory Mangone. Or I'll call him Mangon. Or the Mango. Yeah, that's his nickname, is Mango. Let's see. Oh my. Okay, that's our first cool looking player. He's definitely looking like he should have been playing in 1980, at least. Or it's maybe a guy that came out of retirement or something like that to play, because he's got the Titan stick and the gray hair. Okay. So Mangone's a character, wearing number 66, so you'd think he'd be Mario Lemieux, but I mean, Mario Lemieux didn't have that kind of crazy hair and didn't use a Titan stick like Wayne Gretzky did, but that's kind of funny. Jude Turnbull. Let's see what Jude looks like. Even though he's not really that important yet to this team. He might never be. He might be just more of a depth defenseman. Oh, wow, okay. He's got kind of a nice hairstyle. Kind of a lot of headspace, though. He's almost very bald, too. He almost looks like Pavel Demitra in a way. Yeah, that's actually a good face for Pavel Demitra. I don't think I used that face for Pavel Demitra before. But, yeah, that actually looks pretty cool. And he's got red skate laces, I just realized, or orange, to kind of match with the stick a little bit. That's interesting. Kind of a weird choice of skate color, skate lace color, but I'll take it. So there is our defenders. Let's see what else we got here. We've seen Della Rovere. We've never seen Sergeyev, I think. We might have, but it was a long time ago if it was. Let's double check anyways on Sergeyev. I don't think we've seen him before. He is Goldilocks, pretty much. That's his nickname on the team. Rocking a 35 as a forward is very weird. You think he'd be a goaltender. He's got the nice tilted visor, too, so he's got kind of a cool look. Probably the second best look out of the guys we've seen so far in this episode. Then we'll take a look at the left wingers here. We've seen Lehman, we've seen Lassick. I'm pretty sure we've seen Weber. We've never seen Hamelainen, Habscheid, or Haken, the 3 H's. Let's see what they look like. The Triple H. Let's see. So, Hamelainen. Looking like this. Okay, he's got the same face as the that defenseman, and also red skate laces again. He does have the yellow Easton stick, which is a very nice touch. That's one of the best sticks ever, right? So, I like that. Good choice of stick. Pretty basic visor, and a warrior helmet, which is interesting. Okay, what about Habscheid? What about Habscheid? He's going to want to get paid this offseason, so I might honestly think about letting go of Vlasic in the offseason, but that's it for another time. So this is what Habscheid looks like. He's got some pretty nice hair. Good flow. A lot of forehead space. And yeah, pretty basic look to him. So there is Vic. What a name, Vic. I guess it's short for Victor Habscheid. And then our final left winger, we have Tero Heikin, the Finn, likely, right? I think he's a Finn, or is he a Swede? I believe he's a Finn. Let's see. Okay, pretty basic look as well for him. Yeah, nothing too special. He is a tall guy, though. How tall is Tero Heikin? I didn't even really look at his height, I don't think, before. I am curious on that. Heikin is 6'5", 228. Man, he's a huge man. Goddamn. We've seen Wilm, we've seen Ahin, and we've never seen Richter, Anderson, or Kozlov, I think. I've seen everybody else, though, on this team. So let's take a look at what Richter looks like. He's probably the most exciting one to see. Let's see if he's cool. Not really too much. He does have front tucked skates, which is interesting. Okay, the hair is kind of neat, though. Okay. Yeah, Richter's not the coolest character, but he does have some nice hair. Very spiky, which I could definitely go with. So that's kind of neat. Okay. And then our final two players to take a look at is Mr. Jesper Anderson and then Andrei Kozlov, who we just brought back as a depth piece, but we'll still take a look at him because he's never played an NHL game at this point in time. Here is Jesper Anderson, rocking some orangey hair, which is interesting. Apparently does have facial hair that grows in the playoffs. Let's see, take a look at that. Yep. Okay. I didn't take a look at other players to see if they have facial hair in the playoffs, but it is what it is. So there is Anderson, and our final player, Mr. Andrei Kozlov. What's nice about Kozlov is he can play center or left wing, so he's a kind of a nice depth option to have in case Sharov is in. He can play on the left side if he wants to. And this is Andrei Kozlov. Looks very Russian. Very big, thick beard. Does his beard grow longer in the playoffs? No, it doesn't. Okay. Still looks pretty cool, though. Rocking the number 5, so you'd think he'd be a defenseman, but he's not. Okay, so those are our new players on the team this year. We'll try and do that every single season from here on out. Just try and remind me because I honestly might forget. But let's sim to the start of the regular season and see if our team can actually do good this season with a new coach, with readjusted lines. We should be a playoff team, but the question really is, like I said last year and the year before probably, is for how long. So let's get the preseason done because it doesn't matter too much, but let's see how the team does preseason wise. And so far it is simulating very well in the preseason, but that doesn't matter too much. We just had a 10-1 win over Montreal in the preseason. Jeez. So 5-2-1 in our 8 preseason games. How was the scoring? We had Ahin on 15 points in 8 games. That might be a good sign. Considering he's a second liner, he's not even playing with Wilm in that preseason. So, hey, we might have some very good balanced offense throughout our lineup. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, the regular season is upon us. We are already 18 minutes into this episode, so hopefully this episode doesn't end up being like an hour long. But let's go through the season. We'll go to, I guess, December the 1st to start it off. Just take it a little bit slower and see if our team can get off to a good start this year. Okay, so starting off with points in our first 3 games, which is nice, but then we lost to Minnesota. And Hartnell's already been injured in the minors. That kind of sucks considering he's medium elite. We'll go replace player, though, and then we'll throw him back in. Mangone has already been injured in the NHL. Okay, so we're already getting slapped with the injury train a little bit here early on, but still able to win some games here, which is nice, and Mangone is already back. Hopefully the ice time is good with some of these guys that we're not getting a lot before. Hey, Turnbull actually works pretty good on that top 6 pairing too, which is nice. So at least we're having some decent chemistry with the depth options too. I wanted to take a look at Sergeyev's ice time and stuff like that, see if he's happy. He hasn't gained any morale yet. He lost individual performance. The other guys seem to be still the exact same overall, so nobody's dropping just yet here early on, which is a nice sign. Let me stop the sim for a second, as Hartnell actually has just returned, which is good, considering he's the best player in the AHL almost. And Hartman, yeah, should definitely be NHL bound next year, so I'm thinking, honestly, the smart move for our team would be to probably get rid of some people on our roster, on our forward core, and integrate the youth if this team doesn't win a Stanley Cup this season. If they do, it makes it a little bit easier even. But 7-2-1 in our first 11 games is pretty good. Let's go to the end of November then, considering our team is actually off to a good start. Watch will fall apart here this month. We lose 2 of our first 3 games of the month, and now Raymond has been injured in the AHL. So the AHL getting slapped with a couple big injuries this year. Apparently it's a good year for rookies, so hopefully that's actually true, as Raymond has returned for the AHL. McLaren was playing top line. Oh boy, that's not too good, but hopefully our AHL team is doing relatively well in the sim engine as well, because obviously it would be nice for our AHL team to win a Calder Cup or something like that. I don't think Sutton was ever injured, so I'm just going to go continue it. I don't even really know who that is. Okay, it looks like we're doing good all of a sudden again. Yeah, our team is doing very good, but that doesn't really mean anything considering the playoffs haven't even happened yet. 16-6-1 at December the 1st. We are first place in our division, and we're up there right now for potentially being a President's Trophy favorite, which is not great. I think we honestly just got to keep rolling with it, but I am going to just do a month at a time to take it a little bit slower. But yeah, our NHL team is absolutely killing it right now, as Reed Stewart has been injured with a sore knee. That sucks considering he's a top 4 prospect. But yeah, the AHL team has been slapped with injuries quite a bit here early on, which is not ideal. Hopefully those guys still developed well enough even with injuries on. Like, that's why I didn't really want to have injuries on in a sense, but it kind of makes sense. So McLaren, you come back out. Reed Stewart, you get back in. He's an OFD, so hopefully he get developed well enough. Hartman is up to an 80 still. Boucher's up to a 75, which is exciting. He's that low elite we drafted in the 7th round a few years ago. He's playing his first AHL season, so maybe he'll be a Rookie of the Year down there, which will be pretty nice. Hartnell was never injured, so I will just continue simulating. There's another win. There's another win. Yeah, our team is doing very good in the NHL. This is a funny thing to see. Tampa has fired head coach Eric Stahl. So Eric Stahl was coaching our former players in Stagen and FPZ there, which is interesting. We are 25-8-3 at January the 1st, which has us as the top team in the NHL, just above the Kraken. I swear we're going to win a 3rd President's Trophy in 4 years, and then we're going to be a first-round exit. That's what the way it seems like right now, which is not great, unless we have a fall off of the second half of the season, but oh boy. At least we have the regular season success. The playoffs obviously would be better to have success in, but I mean, to win 3 President's Trophies potentially in a span of 4 years would be very impressive, but with no Stanley Cup to show for it, would not look great. Like, those would look like consolation prizes at that point. Let's go to February the 1st. We're still cruising well, so let's keep it up. Hartman has been injured in the AHL. That actually sucks a lot, considering he is our top forward in the AHL, but he should be back relatively soon. Hartman is back. That is good news that it wasn't too long term, because we had Sutton in as the top line center. I don't even think he has much potential, so that's why I think I had him scratched, if I remember right. But it seems like the balanced approach on our lineup is definitely helping the offense a little bit, I think, at this rate. But is it going to be good in the playoffs? Who knows? Raymond has broken his hand in the AHL. That's a major injury for him. Wow. So the AHL is still getting slapped with the injury bug, which is not great. I kind of hate how once there's one injury, it seems like there's like 10 injuries that happen. Okay, we dropped 4 of our last 5 games to end the month, which is kind of nice because we have fallen off a little bit. We are now 2nd place in the Atlantic Division, only behind the Panthers. We are as good as the Preds pretty much. We are below the Kings, the Kraken, the Flames. So we have fallen off in the standings a bit, which is nice, because we don't really want that President's Trophy. That President's Trophy doesn't really mean a lot. Let's go to the 28th and see where we're at the end of February. There's a nice win over Tampa. Bear White has now been injured. Let's just go replace player on that front. But the AHL is getting slapped with a couple injuries, which is not very nice. Yeah, we're definitely falling off a little bit here in the second half of the season, which is actually kind of nice. Might give us a better chance in the playoffs. I know it sounds weird, but I think it might be that our team needs that type of thing. And is the other guy back from injury yet? No, he's not. Raymond is not. He's not back till the end of the month, I think it was. Seems like the ice time has actually gone back up. Everybody's happy with their ice time, because Sergeyev is up to an 82. Habscheid and Hagen are fine with the ice time as well, even though they're on 83s on the 4th line. So seems like we got the ice time figured out with this team, so that way everybody actually is happy, not losing morale. Okay, so that is good. Let's continue the sim. Oh no, that's not great. Mateo Burkov has sprained his ankle. He's out till March the 14th. which is problematic because actually no, they don't go through waivers, but that does mean we have to call up Budens or Michelli. I guess we'll call up Budens. Yeah, well, I guess we'll call it Budens. Well, I'm glad that they don't go through waivers. I thought both of them would go through waivers at this point. So the game had to sign me a random goalie for the AHL, which is kind of interesting. But we'll get Solis and Budens in. But that is a major injury to our starter in Burkhoff. Hopefully he was having a good season up to this point, but he will be out until almost the midway point of March, which is not great. But hopefully the AHL team can still do good with Sawyer Michelli as the starter. Because more than likely this AHL team should be a playoff team unless the coaching staff is just not doing well enough with the team. But you never know. Okay, let's see how we do with that injury. We're still winning some games, which is nice. Lehman was never injured. That's okay. There's another win. And Raymond has healed. Oh my goodness. So Raymond has healed from his broken hand, which is huge. We will take Sutton out in the minors. And Raymond will come back in. Raymond's another guy I want to get into the NHL soon too, so hopefully we can get him there, because that would be great. Let me actually stop the sim engine here, because I can't see what's happening. There you go. I bet you Elastic's having a very good season. Oh my goodness, now Raymond had a mild concussion. Poor guy can't stay healthy. And now Hudson Bursch has separated his shoulder. That's a major injury for the AHL team. That's like the top defender down there. But 39, 19, and 5. A day before the deadline. But what I was saying is I think Lassick and stuff like that are having probably a very good season because they're pending free agents. But I don't think I'm willing to bring Lassick back potentially just because of the fact we have so much left wingers. I know it might be a weird thing to do, but I don't want to even look at what he wants for an extension right now. Like, I bet you he's one of our best players on the team at the moment. Maybe he's not. Maybe he has fallen off a lot. I just don't want to bank on him like I did with Stajan, not with Stajan. The contract, he's going to just demand probably too much money, and then he's going to fall off a cliff. But let's continue to simulate. Looks like we should be a playoff team at this rate because we are first place in our division, tied with the Panthers. We're behind the Preds, behind the Kings. We're above the Kraken and Flames now, only by a little bit, below the Devils. Yeah, there's a lot of other teams that could pass us potentially to end the season. So we definitely look like a playoff team. But obviously we might not be the best team, which is good. Because not being the best team is a good sign for our playoff run potentially instead. Because we don't want to necessarily have home ice advantage. That never really helps. So there was a big blockbuster trade. Apparently some guy named Pierre Zabottle, not our former Pierre Zabottle, got dealt to Arizona for some guy named Richie in Sasaki. Okay. Raymond is back. That is good news. Got to get Raymond back in. Hopefully he's having a good AHL year despite the injuries. Because those injuries are definitely piling up. Like, he's been injured like 3 times this year, which is kind of nuts. Okay, NHL team, let's continue the trend and make it to the playoffs. Let's go. There's a win, but let's not win a President's Trophy. Burkhoff is back, so we will have to send down our young goaltender in Budens. Did he get the playing games in the NHL? He did, and he was actually pretty good despite losing 2 of his 4 games. He actually picked up his first career shutout in that span, so shout out to Patrick Budens. He will be up here in the NHL probably somewhat soon. Like, there is a good chance that Budens and Michelli both make the NHL within the next 1 to 3 seasons. Because I don't know if we're going to hold on to both Solis and Burkhoff long term. That's an interesting dilemma for our team. Let's see. We'll take Lynn back out. Hopefully, we do not get a re-injury here for our goaltending. Okay, there you go. Let's continue simulating. There's another loss. Cardwell has been injured in the AHL. And then Hartman is back. That is good news. Let's get... Actually, no, he wasn't ever injured. I always forget who was injured and who wasn't because this AHL team has been injured so much this season. Okay, so that is good. Continue simulating. We are dropping a few games here at this stage, which is kind of good for the standings in a sense. And we should be still a playoff team, and now Reid Stewart has been injured again. So a couple guys getting re-injured multiple times, which is not a great look as Bursch has returned, which I think that's where it just puts Stewart in. Or put him in for Stewart, yeah. So I guess we'll keep with McLaren on the top line for now. Yeah, we have a lot of injuries on our defensive core in the AHL at the moment, so hopefully the AHL team can weather the storm and still make it to the playoffs. Okay, so definitely have a little bit of a weird month so far for this team. But yeah, it looks like we're definitely going to be a playoff team as Liam Ahinen has been injured with a fractured jaw. Out till April the 16th, so our second line center and long-term player has been injured for a long time. He will be back likely for the playoffs, it looks like. But that does mean Vitaly Sherov might get in, or Kozlov. Sherov dropped down to a 74. That's kind of crazy. He doesn't like his ice time. That's why. Okay, we'll get Vitaly Sherov in, considering he has been here a long time. We know the Sheriff could work well with guys like Lehman and whatnot. So the Sheriff will draw back in, and hopefully his ice time will be... he won't get as mad about his ice time. Okay, so we got to readjust our lines here a little bit. So we got to take Burrish out for Cardwell, was it? No, it was Sutton out for Cardwell. Yeah, okay. So Sutton out for Cardwell. And then we got to take Burrish out for Reed Stewart. And then we got to take McLaren out for Burrish. Just so everything's back to the way it was. There you go. Okay. Yeah, the AHL team keeps getting roughed up, which is kind of crazy. Okay, final few games of the month. We already adjusted our lines, I'm pretty sure. So we will just go... I'll just go edit lines, and then I think we're good on who's actually supposed to be back in, right? Let me double check. Yeah, okay, we're good. I had to make sure everybody was in their right spots, which they are. And okay, yeah, we're definitely still dropping a bit of games, but we are still leading our division. We're at 45 wins on the season, 95 points. We could still get leapfrogged by the Canadiens, the Panthers, and then the Red Wings also could technically leapfrog us, so we could still fall off quite a bit. We aren't going to win the President's Trophy, that's for sure. A lot of teams over 100 points, which might bode well for us in the playoff runs, so I will take that. And do we beat Philadelphia? Richter was never injured. We do beat Philly. We got 4 games left of the season. We have not clinched a playoff spot yet, but we should be momentarily, I think. No, we still have not. Let me see the other non-playoff teams. The Wildcards on 90 points. There's Blue Jackets on 89, so it is a little bit of a tight race here, but not super tight where we have to worry too much. Ottawa and San Jose. We win 7-1. Richter has been injured with a mild concussion, so that will get Kozlov into the lineup for his first few games, and now we've clinched a playoff spot, right? Yep, now we have. And we will be back to full health likely for around the start of the playoffs. I mean, Ahinen is going to miss still a little bit of time, I think, going into the first round, which kind of sucks. But we do have the Sheriff at least who can pass the puck well, so he'll get back in. I could throw Richter up there, to be honest. You know what? That's what I'm going to do for now. While we have that injury, is Richter will be the second liner. Sherov will be the third liner instead. Okay, so yeah, we've clinched the playoff spot. Let's get these last 2 games done. Nashville and Tampa. We win that one in a shootout. In our final game, we lose 5-4. We finished as the second best team in our division, so we did not win the Atlantic, which is kind of good, but Montreal did, so Montreal might be a potent threat again. But we finished 49, 28, and 5, so a pretty good season with the new coach. The question is, how good did the defensive play change with this new coach as well? And Mauricio, I love this man. Over 100 points again, over 50 goals again. Mauricio Wilm just continues to impress. Wow. Okay. Well, let's take a look first at our team stats and then our player stats and see what went well, what went not so well. So we are the 8th best team in the NHL. We might actually be in a pretty good spot in terms of being able to make it out of the second round, potentially, if we get there, that is. But I feel like much safer being in this spot than I do at number 1, which the Kraken won the President's Trophy, so they're likely a first-round exit. Goals for per game wise, we were one of the best offensive teams in the NHL, which is not really a surprise considering we balanced out our offensive threat a little bit as we finished, I think that is 7th. Goals against per game wise, we were the 3rd best defensive team in the regular season, which is pretty damn impressive. That means the goaltending, the defensive play was pretty good with this new head coach. Obviously, he needs to transition into the playoffs, though, if we want to be successful. Power play percentage wise, we are pretty good on the power play as well, 23.2%, which is 4th place. And our penalty kill was only 80%. which was one of the worst. So despite being one of the better defensive teams, we struggled on the penalty kill. I don't know if that's something we need to look to address or not. We had 12 short-handed goals, though, this year, which led the league, which is nice, but our penalty kill just did not play defense. They played more offensively. We are 24-14-3 on home ice, 25-14-2 on the road, and 7-3 in our last 10 games. I don't like that we're going into the playoffs on a little bit of a heater, because that always could mean a little bit of an early exit. So there is that. I also do want to quickly take a look if the AHL team made the playoffs. They did. They did. Burnaby made the playoffs. Let's go. Shout out to Burnaby. Hopefully a lot of good growth down there and a lot of good stats from our top prospects. But let's take a look at our player stats. Very curious on how the depth scoring worked with this team being a little bit more balanced. Holy crap, man. Okay, well, I just saw somebody's stats, and I think you guys might have too, but we'll take a look at that in a second. So, Wilmot, 110 points. As always, Mauricio is the man. He's at now 762 career goals, 800 assists, 1,562 points. He's only missed 3 games due to injury because we didn't have injuries on early on, but we turned them back on, and he's still not missed a lot. And he's now got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seasons over 100 points. Which means I think he's already tied Wayne Gretzky in 100-point seasons, if I remember right, which is kind of crazy. So shout out to Mauricio Wilm, still rocking an exact franchise, so he might not even retire soon, which is awesome. Ahinen on 59 points in 76 games is pretty solid considering he got injured near the end. He will be hopefully back soon for the playoffs. We have Richter on 50 points, 32 goals for Ricardo. That's exactly what I kind of hoped for him, and that's why we banked on him and gave him an 8-year extension. Yeah, that's a pretty good season for him. A little bit better goal scoring than last year. Not outrageously better, but it's still a good goal scorer to have in our lineup. Anderson on 21 is not bad. 100 penalty minutes, though. I get that he's a grinder, but damn. 4 assists in 6 games for Sherov is nice to see, considering Ahinen is still out with an injury. Left wing wise, Hämäläinen, though, this is what I saw. 96 points for Antti Hämäläinen. So we threw him to the top line this year with some very good players. He's still signed for 2 more seasons, but a very good year for Hämäläinen. Much better than his next career best. 30 plus points more than two years ago. So, yeah, Hämäläinen, if he's going to be playing with good players, he'll produce. Vlasic on 94 points is very good as well. I'll take that. Lehman on 71 points ain't too bad, considering he is a second liner on our team and first line power play. But his contract is not the best. His potential is still exact elite, which is good too. Weber on 66 points, not bad. Not bad at all. I'll take that from Joel Weber. Habscheid only on 38 points. Once again, he's getting 4th line at power play, but not bad. 17 goals. Haken on 29 points ain't too bad. Right wing wise, Del Rivera on 66 points, not too bad. 20 power play points. Wow. And then Sergeyev on 39 points, only 2 goals this year. Jeez. Wow, okay. So from an offensive standpoint, definitely like the depth scoring quite a bit. The lowest offensive player was Anderson and Haken and Habscheid, so the 4th line. But in general, they actually produced a little bit, which is nice. But our only 100-point player was Mauricio, as it normally is. Defensively, Sea-Doo only on 26 points. So with this defensive coach, these guys aren't picking up as much offense as they have in the past, which is interesting. But it kind of might be better. Sea-Doo on 26 points plus 36, though. Boys on 25 points and a -1. Only 1 power play point. He was playing on the top unit with Wilm and stuff like that, so I don't know how he only had 1 power play point. That's a bit weird. Kolesnik on 18 points plus 48. Hopefully those DFDs are better in the playoffs, though. 13 points for Mangone plus 4. Paco had 12 points plus 16. Booze had 12 points plus 30. And Turnbull had nothing but was +1 in 2 games. Goaltending wise, Burkov had a 908 and a 2.89, which is pretty solid. And then Solis was actually pretty good as well, around the same 902 save percentage in a 2.99. Not bad. 3 assists for Mateo Burkov. Okay, so the team did relatively well. The question is, how did the rest of the league do? How did the rest of the league do? The best point getter, Landon McGrath in Seattle. You also had Clark Caswell there for Vancouver and Junior Los there for Seattle. So yeah, Seattle's definitely a threat. That's not our former Mathieu. That's a different Mathieu. Mauricio Wilm did finish top 6 in points. And he did not lead the league in goals. He came just behind Tuukka Kuda, Mario Mathieu, and Cesar Gamache. But a good season again for Wilm. He's much older than a lot of these other guys too, so that's nice to see. But Gamache is only 19 and just won a Richard, which is crazy. In terms of other stats, let's take a look at shorthanded points because we did have a lot of shorthanded goals. It was Del Rivera leading the league with 6. Nice. Wilm had 4 shorthanded points of his own this year. Haken had 4 as well. Nice. I like to see that. Selke candidates for fun. Let's see. Connor Bedard. Yeah, likely Connor Bedard, I'd say, would win it. Likely because he has the most face-offs. Really good face-off percentage. But you do also have Koskinen on 57%, so Koskinen could steal it. In terms of fights for fun, it's always Braden Toms. That guy always has so much penalty minutes in fights. Like, if we look at his career, this guy's got 1,721 penalty minutes, but 705 points in his career. This guy is a very, very effective player at what he does. Very interesting player. So there is 4 points. I am curious on defensive points, even though we don't have any good defensive scorers. Oh my goodness. Brandt Clark had 99 points and was a plus 50. Craziness. So he's obviously going to win the Norris. No question about that. Best goalie this season was Maxime Deneau in Seattle. 48 wins. Most shutouts, Colin Hutton in Calgary. Yeah, I've seen that guy up there before. This guy simulates really well. Yeah, this guy simulates well. Last year in the playoffs, he had a 916 and they won the Stanley Cup. And then he has a 922 this year. Interesting. Goals against per game. Yeah, Hutton likely is going to win a Vezina. Likely him. There's also Adams you could make an argument for, but likely it's Hutton, my guess. Any goalie goals this season? No goalie goals. Most assists was Dakota Schneider in Nashville. And look, there's Sonnenberg, of course, in Dallas. We forgot to take a look at where some of our former players went, but that's okay. Rookie skaters, the best was Sergei Mayorov in Washington with 50 points, but was minus 30, so they might give it to somebody like Wyman because he was an even 0 instead. So there is rookie points. Let me quickly take a look at our AHL team because I am curious on how Burnaby did in the minors. Let's see. Hartman led the team in points as he should probably. Boucher had 62 points in his first season. That's pretty impressive. Raymond was pretty good despite battling some injuries. Yeah, some good players, or decent stats from some good players. Bursch on 43 is nice. Hartnell on 35. We should see some of these guys jump to the NHL soon. And then Michelli was really good at 918, but Budin's had a 906, which is not bad either. And then he also played in the NHL briefly too. So there is that. The question is now, who are we going to play in round 1, and can this team translate its success from the regular season into the playoffs? We are going to be taking on the Florida Panthers. And Ahinen will not be full health for game 1, so we'll probably keep him out just for precautionary reasons. But we are going to be taking on the Florida Panthers, so we do actually have home ice advantage, which is interesting. They were 46, 26, and 10. This is like the first time I think we've played Florida in the playoffs, so that's kind of neat. Let's do a little comparison regular season-wise, and then we'll take a look at what their lineup is looking like. So yeah, they just finished just below us by 1 point. But we had the way better ROW. They were scoring less goals than us. They were allowing more goals than us. Our power play was a little bit better. And their penalty kill was a slight bit better. So this might be more of an even matchup than we would think. They were not good on the road, and that's the reason why they fell off a little bit, looks like. I am kind of scared about that. Let's take a look at Florida, see what they are made of. Because we've never played them before, so we've never seen them. Wonder if there's any former players on that team. First line, it's the team with Cesar Gamache that just won the friggin' Richard. That's not great. So a very young team, it looks like, at least top line wise. You have Damon Peterson, who's 20 years of age. Michael Porter, who's 31, so never mind. And Cesar Gamache, who's 19. Yeah, it's a very good first line. Second line, Edward Sale, Brad Lambert, and Ernesto McDonald. Crazy name there. A couple older guys on that second line. Third line, Errol Lindsey, Anton Lundell still kicking at 37, and Topi Herme. And then a fourth line of Felipe Rissmiller, Luke Misa, and Vesa Salo. I can see why they weren't as good of a team as us, but they still simulated pretty well. They have a very good top line and a couple good pieces like Sale, Lambert, and Lindsey. McDonald's more of a good third liner, but still this team has a little bit of a depth problem to an extent. Defensively, okay, I can kind of see why they're good. Whitmore and Commodore. They also have Angelo Lindsay, so another Lindsay, Nicholas Percy, and Marty Cook, and Ivan Leonov. Okay, or Ivan Leonov, yeah. So I could kind of see maybe why they would have a decent power play or something like that, because they have two great medium elite defenders. One they drafted, one they didn't. Whitmore's an offensive defenseman. Yeah, they definitely probably have a good looking power play unit. That's my guess. And they do have the good goaltender in Gabriel Dag, who's an 87. Okay, you can definitely see that they're actually a decent team. And then Chandler Cunning. Scratch-wise, Johan Eklund and Lucas Hillman. So I think the way for us to win is obviously shutting down this top line, as we try to do that year in and year out. Shutting down Lambert, Sale, and Lindsey would make sense as well. And then from a defensive standpoint, shutting down Whitmore, Commodore, even maybe Percy a bit, and finding a way to score on Dag would be very beneficial for our team. But I think it's going to be a very good first round matchup. It's definitely a series I could see going to 7 games just based on both teams' rosters. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Halifax Raiders Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the first round of the playoffs against the Florida Panthers, as we look to get to the second round and hopefully beyond that as well, because this year is maybe a make or break year. We might eventually start getting guys dropping off a cliff after the season, I think, just based on age and all that type of thing. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.